When a woman looks in the mirror and sees a body that doesn't match the image she's been taught to value, it can plant a seed of doubt deep inside her mind. That doubt doesn't come from her soul. It comes from programming. From early childhood, women are bombarded with images, advertisements, and societal beliefs that say, this is beauty, this is feminine, this is what makes you desirable. But here's the truth most people never hear. Your body is not your identity. Your body is simply a vessel. The real you, the powerful, radiant, infinite you, lives in your mind and spirit. And the mind is where every change begins. When a woman feels insecure because of her body, it's never really about the body. It's about the meaning she has attached to it. A woman with small breasts is not less of a woman, but if she believes she is, that belief becomes the filter through which she experiences everything: relationships, career, confidence, and even her intimate life. That belief becomes a program, a mental pattern running on autopilot, and unless she questions it, it controls her life without her even realizing it. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born looking at your body and picking it apart. That was taught. And anything that is taught can be unlearned. When you begin to see that your physical features are neutral, not good, not bad, just a part of your earthly form, you begin to realize that all power lies within. A confident woman who owns her presence will outshine any physical imperfection, because energy is more magnetic than appearance. Your worth is not in the curves of your body, it's in the curves of your thoughts, the shape of your beliefs, the rhythm of your self-respect. And the mind is the gateway. Whatever you repeatedly tell yourself, you will start to believe. Whatever you believe, you will start to act upon. And whatever you act upon consistently will become your reality. So when a woman says, I feel unattractive because my breasts are small, she is not stating a fact. She is stating a belief that has been reinforced by society, media, and comparison. But beliefs can be changed. And when you change your beliefs, your entire world begins to rearrange itself around your new mindset. The truth is, some of the most powerful, seductive, magnetic women in the world did not have ideal bodies by society's standards. But they had one thing that changed everything: self-permission. They permitted themselves to feel beautiful, to walk with confidence, to speak with authority, to move through the world like they belonged. And they did, not because the world gave them that permission, but because they gave it to themselves. That is a power no one can take from you. You don't need anyone else's approval to feel enough. The only person who needs to see your beauty is you. Because once you see it, you'll radiate it, and others will feel it. You must understand that everything begins with awareness. Once you become aware of the thought patterns that are limiting you, patterns like, I'm not attractive enough, men prefer bigger breasts, I'll never feel confident unless I change my body, you have the power to shift them. These thoughts are not truths. They are just repetitions. And repetition is what builds belief. So if you want to believe something different, you must repeat something different. Start telling yourself the truth, that you are worthy exactly as you are, that your physical appearance has nothing to do with your capacity to love, to lead, to inspire, to seduce, to build, to create, that your body is an expression of your soul, and your soul is infinite. When you shift your inner dialogue, your posture changes, your tone changes, your presence shifts, and what used to feel like a flaw begins to fade into irrelevance. You don't need to conform to someone else's version of beautiful to be powerful. The greatest transformations come not from surgery, makeup, or filters, but from a woman deciding to stop rejecting herself. When you stop rejecting any part of your body, you begin to reclaim your energy. That energy becomes freedom, and with freedom comes creativity, attraction, clarity, and deep personal power. Confidence is not built in the gym or at the plastic surgeon's office. It's built in the mind. You build it by choosing your thoughts intentionally, by feeding yourself with ideas that uplift you, and by removing the toxic mental scripts that were never yours to begin with. The moment you realize your body is not the obstacle, but your mindset is, you've already taken back your power. Because now, the solution is within reach. It lives within you. You don't have to chase it, you just have to unlock it, and it begins with knowing the truth. You were never less than. You were just misinformed. Negative feelings are not signs that something is broken in you. They are messengers. They carry information about the beliefs you hold and the perspectives you've internalized. When a woman feels unworthy, insecure, or ashamed because of her body or any other part of her identity, it doesn't mean she is weak or flawed. It means she's running a subconscious program that's no longer serving her. Those feelings, as uncomfortable as they are, can be the very key to her transformation if she's willing to understand and reinterpret them. The problem isn't the negative feeling itself, it's the story behind it. Many women walk around believing they are less desirable, less valuable, or less capable because of how they look or what they lack physically. This internal dialogue becomes a loop, playing over and over until it feels like truth. And every time that loop is repeated, the emotions grow stronger, more convincing. But emotion follows thought. If you want to change how you feel, you must first change how you think. This is where personal power lies, in your ability to shift perspective. Feelings of doubt, shame, or inadequacy often begin as subtle whispers planted by external voices. Maybe it was a comment from someone you trusted. Maybe it was the way certain body types were praised over others. Maybe it was the silent absence of validation, the feeling of invisibility in a world obsessed with appearances. These moments get stored in the subconscious and begin forming a self, concept, an identity. But the beautiful truth is identity is fluid. It's a decision, not a destiny. When you feel a negative emotion, don't fight it or bury it. Sit with it. Ask it what it's trying to show you. There's always a belief attached to it. For example, if a woman feels insecure about her small breasts, the emotion might be fear. Fear that she won't be loved, that she won't be desired, that she won't be chosen. That fear is tied to a belief, I am not enough as I am. Now, once she sees that belief clearly, she can begin the real work, questioning it. Who said you're not enough? Based on what? Someone else's preference, a manipulated media standard, an outdated belief passed down through generations. Once you begin asking questions, the belief starts to weaken, because most negative feelings are built on illusions, false ideas that we never challenge. The truth is, worth is not measured in body parts or appearances. It's felt from within. And the only reason a woman might feel unworthy is because she's forgotten her power, not because she's lacking something externally. The moment you remember who you are, not in a physical sense, but in a soul sense, you begin to rise. Negative feelings are a signal. They are saying, hey, something in your internal system is misaligned. Instead of suppressing them, reframe them. Let them become teachers. A woman who learns to sit with discomfort and ask the right questions becomes unstoppable. She's no longer controlled by emotion, but guided by it. And that shift, from reaction to awareness, is everything. When you begin to view your emotions as energy in motion, not as permanent labels, you realize they can be moved, shifted, transmuted. Feeling unattractive doesn't mean you are unattractive. Feeling unloved doesn't mean you are unlovable. These are passing states, not eternal truths. But if you allow these feelings to define you, they become cages. And the longer you stay in those cages, the more you forget the door was never locked. Changing your internal state requires repetition. It's not a one-time fix. Every time the old belief tries to return, and it will, you must consciously replace it. You must talk to yourself differently. You must catch the thought as it enters and ask, is this helping me or hurting me? And if it's hurting you, you replace it with something better. Over time, these small inner shifts build new emotional patterns. And as the emotions shift, your actions shift, your confidence grows, your energy transforms. Remember, the feelings you experience daily are the blueprint of the life you are building. If you live in guilt, shame, or insecurity, you unconsciously attract experiences that confirm those emotions. But if you begin to cultivate feelings of worth, appreciation, and wholeness, even before the outside world gives you a reason, the world begins to mirror that back to you. It's not magic. It's mindset. The world doesn't shape your beliefs. Your beliefs shape the way you experience the world. So instead of avoiding negative feelings, embrace them as part of your growth. They are the cracks in the old foundation letting light in. They are showing you where the healing needs to happen. And once you heal the belief, the feeling follows. No external change is required to feel better, just a shift in understanding. And every woman has the power to make that shift the moment she stops accepting every thought as truth and starts challenging the thoughts that keep her small. Perception is the filter through which we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. It colors everything: how we interpret events, how we assess our worth, how we walk into a room, and how we show up in relationships. But what many people don't realize is that perception is not objective reality. It's a lens. It's a projection. It's shaped by your beliefs, your experiences, and most importantly, the image you hold of yourself in your mind. And that internal image, your self-image, is the most powerful force in your life, because no matter how many external opportunities are presented to you, you will always act in accordance with the image you believe to be true. A woman who walks around believing she is inadequate because of her physical appearance, whether it's the size of her breasts, the shape of her body, or the smoothness of her skin, is not seeing herself. She's seeing a distorted image based on social programming, comparison, and unhealed emotional wounds. And as long as that inner image remains distorted, no amount of compliments, success, or validation will stick. It will bounce off her like water on wax because the internal belief repels anything that contradicts it. The good news is this: your self-image is not permanent. It can be changed. It must be changed if you want to truly break free from insecurity and rise into your full power. But the shift has to begin from the inside out. You cannot wait for the world to reflect a different version of you before you choose to believe differently. You have to create the new image in your mind and hold it until it becomes your emotional home. You must see yourself as beautiful, powerful, and complete before you see evidence of it outside yourself. That's how perception transforms into reality. This is where most people get it wrong. They think, I'll feel confident once I lose weight. I'll feel desirable once someone tells me I'm beautiful. I'll love myself once I change this feature. But it doesn't work that way. The external world reflects your inner state. If you perceive yourself as lacking, you'll unconsciously attract situations, relationships, and dynamics that reinforce that lack. You'll shrink in rooms, you'll silence your voice, you'll settle for less, because your perception is telling you that's all you deserve. But imagine the shift that occurs when a woman upgrades her inner image, when she starts seeing herself as more than just a body, when she looks in the mirror and doesn't critique, but appreciates, when she catches herself comparing and stops, replacing the comparison with compassion. That shift changes everything. Her energy changes, her choices change, her boundaries become stronger, her standards rise. Why? Because she's no longer waiting for someone else to give her permission to feel worthy. She's given that permission to herself. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. That's why visualizing the version of yourself you want to become is not wishful thinking, it's rewiring your brain. When you consistently imagine yourself as radiant, confident, grounded, and desirable, your nervous system begins to adjust. Your subconscious begins to accept that as normal. And once something becomes your new normal internally, your external world will eventually catch up. It has to. That's the law. So ask yourself, what image are you holding in your mind every day? Is it the version of you that you admire and respect? Or is it the version shaped by past wounds, media narratives, and false comparisons? Because whatever you keep in front of your mental screen is what you're feeding. And whatever you feed grows. The power to change your life does not lie in changing your body, your circumstances, or your surroundings. It lies in changing how you see yourself. And not just intellectually, but emotionally. You must feel into the new image, embody it, speak from it, move from it. Make decisions as if you already are that version of you, because in truth, you already are. The only thing standing in the way is the outdated perception that says you're not. That perception is a lie. But as long as you believe it, it becomes your truth. You can walk into any room and shift the energy not by how you look, but by how you see yourself. That's presence. And presence comes from alignment between your inner image and your outward expression. When those two match, people feel it. They may not know why they're drawn to you, why they trust you, or why your words land differently, but it's because you are in integrity with yourself. That's real confidence. That's real power. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be, and then choosing every day to see yourself through that lens until it becomes unshakable. Because when you shift your perception, Your entire reality starts to rearrange itself to match your new belief system. Everything in this universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your confidence, all of it emits a certain vibration. And the law of vibration states that what you vibrate, you attract, not what you want, not what you hope for, but what you truly believe and emit through your dominant state of being. So, when a woman walks through life thinking that her worth is dependent on her physical appearance, when she doubts herself because of her breast size or any perceived flaw, she's not just thinking those thoughts, she's vibrating them. And that vibration sends out a signal that impacts every interaction, every opportunity, every outcome. Confidence isn't found in the mirror. It isn't stitched into the clothes you wear or coded in your DNA. Confidence is a frequency, a state of knowing who you are without needing to defend it. It's magnetic. It draws in experiences, people, and results that match its frequency. When you vibrate self-assurance, the world responds. When you vibrate insecurity, the world responds as well. You can't fake it in the long term. The universe doesn't hear your words, it responds to your vibration. A woman who sees herself as less than, because of the size or shape of her body, is unknowingly operating from a low-frequency state, one shaped by fear, lack, and comparison. And as long as she stays there emotionally, no amount of makeup surgery or affirmation will shift her reality in a meaningful way. Because you can't attract high vibration experiences while radiating low vibration energy. That's like tuning your radio to one station and expecting to hear music from another. It doesn't work. But when she starts to own her energy, when she steps into a state of confidence rooted not in her physical form, but in her essence, everything changes. That energy is what people feel. That's what creates presence. That's what makes a woman unforgettable. Not because of a certain look, but because of a certain energy she carries. People might not even be able to explain it, but they feel it. They respond to it. It influences the way she's treated, the opportunities that come her way, the respect she commands. The world doesn't elevate you because you fit a mold. The world elevates you because you vibrate at a frequency that demands recognition. And that frequency begins with the belief, I am enough. Not when you reach a goal, not when you change your appearance. Now, as you are, and the more you live from that belief, the stronger your vibration becomes. You start attracting relationships that honor you, environments that support you, and results that reflect your inner knowing. What's important to understand is that your body, whatever shape it comes in, is not a barrier to confidence. It's neutral. It's the meaning you assign to it that gives it power. And when that meaning is rooted in insecurity, you lower your vibration. When it's rooted in appreciation and ownership, you raise it. And that shift in vibration is what creates real, lasting change. Not because you've forced the world to see you differently, but because you've seen yourself differently first. It doesn't matter what society says is ideal. Trends change, standards shift, but energy is timeless. And the most powerful women in the world have always known how to work with energy, how to tap into the invisible force that influences everything. When a woman understands that her confidence is a frequency and not a feature, she becomes limitless. She no longer looks for external validation to feel good. She no longer waits for someone else to approve of her. She walks in the room knowing she belongs, and that certainty vibrates louder than any outfit ever could. That kind of energy doesn't come from wishing. It comes from choosing, every day. Choosing to release the beliefs that keep you small. Choosing to detach from the opinions of others. Choosing to speak power into your own life. Choosing to walk, breathe, and act like the woman you know you truly are, even if no one else sees her yet. Because the more you embody her, the more real she becomes. And eventually, the world won't be able to ignore her vibration. It will match her. It will meet her. It will reflect her. You don't need to have what the world calls perfect to be powerful. You need to be aligned. Aligned with your truth. Aligned with your worth. Aligned with the vibration of confidence that isn't seeking, but radiating. Because the law of vibration doesn't respond to external standards. It responds to inner certainty. And when you start living from that space, everything in your life begins to shift to meet you there. Not because you forced it, but because you rose to the frequency that commands it. Feminine power has been misunderstood and misrepresented for generations. So much of what is seen, sold, and celebrated today reduces it to physical features, to sex appeal, to how well a woman fits into a narrow, external definition of beauty. But that is a shallow illusion. Real feminine power cannot be seen with the eyes, it must be felt. It is not in the size of her body, the fullness of her lips, or the curves of her chest. It is in her energy, it is in the way she moves through the world, the calm in her presence, the depth in her eyes, the grace in her stillness. And that kind of power does not come from trying to be anything other than yourself. It comes from owning every part of yourself fully. There are women who walk into a room and turn heads without saying a word, not because of how they look, but because of the invisible frequency they carry. That frequency is the product of self-trust, emotional mastery, and deep self-acceptance. These women are not the loudest, they are not always the most glamorous, and they don't need attention to feel seen. They see themselves, they know themselves. They have nothing to prove, and that absence of desperation creates a presence so magnetic it pulls people in effortlessly. When a woman no longer seeks validation, when she stops molding herself to fit an image and instead starts standing rooted in her truth, something changes in her energy. She becomes attractive in a way that transcends trends or beauty standards, because beauty fades, but energy remains. And when her energy comes from alignment, when her inner world is rich, nourished, and clear, her outer world becomes a mirror of that power. We live in a culture that constantly encourages women to look outside of themselves for empowerment. Get this procedure, buy this product, wear this outfit, follow this diet. And yet, the most powerful transformation begins within. Feminine power is not about performance, it's about presence. It's not about comparison. It's about connection to yourself, your body, your intuition. The most powerful women are not competing with others. They are collaborating with their higher selves. They are tuned into their inner voice and live in harmony with it. Your body, no matter how it looks, is a sacred vessel. It's not something you need to fix or enhance to be worthy of love or respect. When you start to see your body as an ally, not a limitation, you begin to reclaim the energy that's been trapped in self-doubt. That energy fuels your creativity, your sensuality, your focus, and your magnetism. And when you radiate from that place, people feel it. They don't just see you, they remember you. A woman who owns her power isn't threatened by other women. She doesn't feel the need to diminish herself or inflate her image to compete. Her power is rooted in peace, not pride. She knows her value doesn't increase by pleasing others or by meeting arbitrary expectations. Her value is constant. And that knowing gives her an edge, an authority, a quiet confidence that doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. She is intuitive. She listens more than she speaks. She trusts her instincts. She doesn't need to chase anything because she attracts. Her desires are not desperate, they're intentional. Her boundaries are clear, not harsh. She is soft but not weak. She is strong but not rigid. That balance, that sacred dance between strength and surrender, is the embodiment of divine feminine energy. It's not about being passive or submissive. It's about knowing when to lead and when to flow, when to speak and when to be silent, when to hold and when to release. Real feminine power is spiritual. It is not taught in schools or shown in magazines. It is felt in moments of stillness, in how deeply you know yourself, in how little you need from the outside world to feel whole. It's when you walk into a space and don't shrink, when you speak your truth without apology, when you let go of needing to be liked and focus instead on being authentic. That's when the power within you awakens. And when that power is activated, the world cannot help but respond. Because people are starving for realness, for depth, for connection. And the woman who has done the inner work, who has confronted her insecurities and alchemized them into strength, becomes a lighthouse in a world full of noise. She stands tall not because she's perfect, but because she's present. She's not seeking permission to exist. She is declaring it with every breath. No one else can give you this power. It must be claimed from within. It doesn't matter what you were told growing up, what society says you should be, or what past experiences you've had. What matters is the choice you make now. To stop playing small, to stop hiding behind old narratives, to remember who you are beneath the surface, to stop outsourcing your power and instead come back home to yourself. Because everything you've been chasing already exists within you. All it takes is the decision to believe it, to feel it, and to live from that place, no matter who understands or agrees.